Other things I did on this trip was a food tour. I think I would highly recommend that. I'll let you know like who the company was that I went with in the show notes. And that was a great way to do not only like eat a whole bunch of cool food, but walk around and understand your surroundings, especially like the first day, so you can really understand like where you're walking and what you're doing, and what area you're in. But also had history and significance in it as well. And you get to meet other people who are also traveling. So it was great to meet about 12 other people. So that was a good first day experience. I went to the Sistine Chapel. That was great. I would say definitely bring like a handheld fan. It gets really hot in the corridors, especially while you're going through the different museum infrastructures like like the tapestry room. It gets very hot. So I would definitely bring like a handheld fan. You do need to wear, women need to wear like a scarf. There is a place that sells scarves if you forgot yours. It would be fine to just buy one there. They're not too strict on the guys covering their knees with shorts. However, it seems like it's all like centered on women. I don't know. I don't know if that really holds a lot of relevance anymore, to be honest. Like, I think that there were women there in like strappy tops, but I don't think anyone was disrespectful in what they were wearing. So I would say, I wonder if, and I was raised Catholic, I wonder if, that tradition could be looked at. I tried to get my passport stamped there because it's Vatican City, but they were having like a jubilee and all sorts of other stuff going on. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get my passport stamped, but you can ask when you go there and bring your passport. You need identification anyway when you go into the Sistine Chapel. So that's a good, I think that would be a really cool one to get your stamp there. We flew from Paris to Venice, so I didn't get an Italy stamp in my passport. They are like sister countries or whatnot, so I didn't get that. So that's one thing I wish I had, but that's fine. And then we did a Coliseum tour. That tour was a one-on-one tour. So it was my friend Naja that I was traveling with, and then we had a guide all to ourselves. So we went through the Coliseum, and then after the Coliseum, we saw like the building with the Nike on it. We went over and saw the arch. Then we went over and saw like where like a convent was and other infrastructures. We spent a lot of time with her, and that was really great because she had a prepped itinerary of what she wanted to talk about, but then she could really cater things to our needs when we asked her questions. So that I think was very helpful. Leave Stephanie's information if you want a tour with her. Very informative. She went to school for like anthropology, history, what have you. But again, I would say like pretty much every Roman citizen that I've run into is great at knowing their history. We also did a golf cart tour. And at first, like I was thinking, oh, like this golf cart, and you're driving all around, and I wasn't too keen on it. However, our guide was phenomenal. We did a golf cart with just the two of us and a guide. And so we pulled over several times. He took us inside churches. There's one church he took us into where you go below, and there was it was an area where like Christians hid when they were being persecuted, but then later people hid there during 1942 during the World War, and then in 1955 people were hiding there, so it became a place of refuge. And there's etchings on the walls that show the dates that people were hiding in there. There's also like a picture of the first picture of Jesus Christ, and he does have darker skin. It was cool to see that. And then I think that our golf tour guide was great at telling us like all the pagan religion and all the details about the pantheon and the crystallization of the infrastructure. So that held like a lot of knowledge. I was glad that I did that tour. I would say I'm not sure if you can find that all the time. I did see a golf tour of like 12 people. I saw another golf tour of 6 people. I don't know if you would get that much intimacy with your instructor. So I think it's worth the pay to have more of a historical one-on-one experience. And then I would say the food is amazing. Oh my gosh, I have been eating so much. The food tour was great. There's a specific market that we went to, and I will link that below as well. There's a beautiful like cheese shop that was fantastic. We went to a bakery that had like a cannoli that had like very fresh cheese, barely a lot of, barely any sugar. So it was like really as healthy as you can get, I guess. And so that was really good. We found great restaurants with ease. We asked some of our guides about restaurants as well, and definitely ate like not next to huge tourist infrastructures, but there's great restaurants everywhere. We stumbled upon El Grappa del Oro, and it's fantastic and local. And there were families inside that restaurant that they were they went there as children and they were back with their families and we were eating amongst them. It felt like we were in someone's living room. It was just really hospitable. So that was really nice. And the shopping is great. I mean, there's so many different things that you can buy here. There's a variety of fashion. Even in the train station, there was a lot of shopping as well. But I would say if you're looking to bring back like food, you want to go to the markets, and I'll list below the market that we were at. You can get vac sealed like pasta, stuff like that. You can go to the tourist shops and get a keychain and all that kind of stuff. There's great stores for like for clothing. There is also a night market that's really great. And the area that we were at for one of the day markets, there's also great like clothing stores over there. And then I found an article that had like the top 5 best markets. One had like old school vintage stuff. So I'll link those things below. But yeah, tons of shopping. It's a city. So that's always here for you. You can rent bikes. There's a lot of Uber is very easy here. One thing that is we noticed right away when we landed here, we took a train from Venice to Rome and then got to our hotel, the Guardian, and then we started walking around to ground ourselves and be aware of our surroundings, right? So we walked around our neighborhood and several streets, and we came across a lot of men in their full business suits, and they smelled phenomenal. So, yes, I would say that all men and women should come to Rome and seep themselves in the perfumes and understand how to look marvelous. Like, they dress well, they smell incredible, and they eat well. So I think all of that has been really great. If you don't speak a lot of Italian, you're going to be quite fine. Like, you can get around here without speaking any Italian, quite frankly. Should you try? Yes, of course. You should try, but you'll be fine. And then you can Uber with your app. That's really easy way to get around. There's also local buses. You can, choose your pleasure there. When we were Ubering, I think around like $39 to like cross the city and go to different things. We're not like in the heart. We are northeast a bit, but even to get to the Vatican, I think it was like $30. However, like we got there in like a half hour. It was very easy to get there. I would also say with Rome, if you're doing tours, it was a lot easier in Rome to find your tour guides versus Venice. So they're used to being a big city. So they give you street crossings, they give you specific times, they tell you I'm going to have an orange umbrella. It's very easy to find them versus in Venice, you kind of have to like seek it out. I'll do a whole nother episode on Venice, Murano, and Burano later. Okay, well, I have to catch a flight to get to my next destination. I'll let you know that later. It's a surprise. But yeah, if you are coming to Rome, those are some great tips for you. And I would also say, like, the people are very kind, very welcoming. Yeah, you have to like watch your bag when you're in certain areas, but like, don't we do that anyways? But I found that like I wasn't like concerned with that. I was aware. I'm always aware. But like everyone is very like friendly. The fashion is great. The people are kind. And here's a great insight as far as driving. Okay, they have a lot of traffic, a lot of cars. They also have a lot of tourism going on at the same time. So a local might be on a Vespa or a moped trying to get to work, but there's a golf cart tour in front of them down the same side street, right? And so the Vespa might honk because they need to get going. And the golf carts for the golf cart tours, like they never honk at the tourists that are crowding the streets because they're, thinking of tourism. So the Vespas behind them will honk and help move the tourists out of the way, which is great. But what's super cool is that they still have flow together. They still have respect for each other. There were no car crashes that I saw ever. And there was a couple beeps of a horn, but people weren't like flipping each other off and angry and competitive. And so I think that America can learn a lot from that. And this is just one example with a road, but they are very aware and patient and compassionate with each other. And there is a give and take, but there's not like held grudges. There's not, I won't let you in. The huge buses will, move over and everyone's going in a circular formation and driving around on all of these streets. They figure it out compassionately together. So that reminds me of like when I was in Costa Rica, and there was a theme there that I learned from the school, the Real World School, and they talked about how much space does one need to coexist with nature, with animals, with each other. And I think that Rome does this. They know how to coexist kindly with each other. Even when we were in the Vatican, which is super packed, our tour guide said about, before we even went in, like, remember, we're like a fish in a sea and we have to just flow together. So if you're with your tour and you get separated from them, or maybe you get separated from your husband or separated from your child for a second, you can still see them. They're 3 people down. Go with the flow, right? Like just coexist and move, and you'll route yourselves back together. So yeah, I think those are all important things that I've noticed here while being here. Okay, well, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.